friends, I hope you're all fantastic. This is my 1977 Fender Strat. If you've watched the channel for any amount of time, no doubt you would have seen it and heard it. It's had quite a few mods done to it. A stainless refret, the fingerboard has been re-radiused, there's a new nut. I changed the pickups and the electronics a little while ago to some Michael Landau signature pickups by Suhr guitars, which I love the sound of, but of course they're single coils and they have hum. There's several, let's say, traditional ways to solve the hum. The most famous and kind of the predominant way of doing this is a humbucking pickup, whether it's a full-size humbucker or whether it is a stacked humbucker. I've just installed the Ulbrich noise reduction system though, which is an alternative way to get rid of hum with single coil pickups without compromising the single coil tone. So I want to give you a close-up of how it is installed in here. This guitar needs new strings, so I'm going to pull them off and open up the scratch plate. We'll also kind of look at some quirks on this guitar while we're at it. Then I want to compare the overall amount of hum you get out of this with a massive amount of gain. I'm going to actually bring the level up so you can hear the buzz between this, a humbucker equipped guitar, and then a single coil equipped guitar on here. And then of course we'll actually hear the guitar because luckily this still sounds like my Strat. Okay, strings are off and the scratch plate is up on this guitar. Before we take a look at the NRS though, I love on these old guitars how you can see the effects of just exposure to light and the atmosphere with the paint job. I mean, look at the difference in color and sheen between where the scratch plate has been covering. That's probably what the original finish looked like versus this, and it's totally gunked up and there's all these kind of cool character marks in here. That's what I like to call them. They're not dings or scratches. They're character marks. It's how you know the guitar has been played. This took me an embarrassing amount of time to figure out the best angle to actually take a look at the guitar in here, but you can see the NRS is wired in and basically stuffed into the cavity there. So you can see this is quite pliable and flexible, so you can get it to sit in the cavity. You wire up the color-coded wires according to the diagram. I can put a picture of the diagram up, or you can go to the website and get it. And basically the only hard thing about this is you've got to make it fit in there and get the scratch plate back on, but you do have to check that it is oriented the correct way in here. If you imagine kind of flipping this like a pancake in here, each way, one way is going to give you the noise reduction that you want, the other way isn't going to give you any reduction. So of course, like plugging a USB cable into a port or something like that, the first time I put it in wasn't the right way, so I just had to go and fit it in there. So getting the scratch plate back on that. With this particular guitar, just a stock standard 77 Strat was fairly straightforward. I guess if you had like a swimming pool route on your guitar or something like that, it would be even easier. It might be tight if you've got a top-mounted guitar or something like that, but in general, this is actually really easy to squeeze and make it work for your instrument. So a little bit more kind of old old guitar shots in here. Does anyone know what these green stickers are for on old Strats? It probably signifies something, but I have no idea. Now, 70s Fenders are having a bit of a moment, but while they kind of got bashed for years and years for having really subpar build quality, it's kind of deserved. I mean, look at this. This came out of a factory. This was sold at a music store. This was available for public consumption. And that is what the neck join looks like. That's not the only thing on this guitar that was clearly just kind of let through their quality control. But kids, let this be a lesson. You know, if you're going to do work, people are going to look at it in the future. People like me are going to look at it and they're still going to judge you just that little bit. So even though this can't be seen under the scratch plate, I always remember my dad saying when I was a kid, it's like, it's the work that people can't always see. That's where you know the quality and the care is in there. And yeah, the quality and the care was kind of lacking on here. Not that I don't love this guitar, just the fact that these are now kind of going for premium prices. I don't know if it's so deserved, you know. Having a stainless refret on this guitar, having the Suhr pickups in there, having the NRS in there now, you know, there's a lot of aftermarket stuff that needed to be done to really get this to be a kind of reliable, practical instrument for me. Otherwise, it was just kind of a crappy old guitar. Now that it's all fixed, I mean, it's cool that it's a crappy old guitar and there's these character things on there, and, you know, you can see all the old paint, but oh my God, just Just look at that. All right, the glasses are on because we're gonna get nerdy right now. What I wanna do is just basically plug this in and have a whole bunch of gain going. There's no noise gates or anything like that. All the guitar controls are gonna be wound up. And I'm gonna do the same thing with my Telecaster that has a true single coil in the bridge position, and my PRS DGT, which has a bridge humbucker that you can split. So we'll hear the true humbucker mode, and then we'll hear the split mode. I have boosted the overall clip on here by about 30 dB. So it's gonna be quite loud and quite annoying, but once you pump the levels up like this, you hear how much more hum you get with a true single coil against either a humbucker or something like this NRS system. So let's do that, and then we'll also hear it without the volume cranked up by 30 dB, which is very, very quiet. Now, this concept isn't exactly new. There are several manufacturers which have, I would say, equivalent solutions to this. A lot of them involve stuff like having backplates on here. I never like a backplate on my Strat, and I like that this is not intrusive. It lives in the cavity, and because it's kind of squidgy and malleable, you can make it fit into the cavity of different guitars if you'd like to do that. They also make a model that works if you've got a reverse wound middle pickup on your Strat. They've got models for Teles and P90 equipped guitars as well. If you'd like to learn more information, check the video description. I'll put a link to Ulbrich Music in there. And I will play you all out with some more Strat tones. We should have a little Trower style jam on here. I do have to say, the one thing that has been throwing me with this is that I'm so used to hearing that hum when I plug my Strat in and having that little Pavlovian response of, my guitar's plugged in and the volume control's up, whereas with this, I'm not getting as much hum on there, so I have to check that the volume control's actually up. It's kind of just made me that extra little bit twitchy, and basically, if you're like me and you actually like the sound of a Strat bridge pickup with distortion, this is well worth looking into. Let's have that little jam. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.